What is a true fact so baffling, it should be false? The longest time between two twins being born is 87 days. I see these threads a bunch, but this answer has me interested. Gonna look up the source on that one. Kilkenny, Ireland. Gave birth to twins Amy Ann and Kate Marie, Katie, Elliot 87 days apart, making them the twins with the longest interval between their births. The twins were born at Waterford Regional Hospital. Amy was born prematurely on the 1st of June 2012 and Kate followed on the 27th of August. Guinness World Records. The record for most children born to one mother is 69. To the wife of Fyodor Vasilyev, B. 1707 c. 1782. A peasant from Shuaya, Russia. In 27 labors, she gave birth to 16 pairs of twins, 7 sets of triplets and 4 sets of quadruplets. Not sure what's more impressive, having that many children, or considering it's the 1700s. Living through it. One day Mao Zedong saw a sparrow eating grain. Thinking that the sparrows were hurting China's grain supply, he and the Communist Party launched the Four Pests campaign. The Chinese military and population killed every sparrow they could find. Embassies didn't allow the Chinese to kill sparrows on their property, so the Chinese banged pots and pans outside the embassies 24/7 until the sparrows died of exhaustion. Unfortunately for the Chinese, sparrows mainly eat insects, not grain. The locust population exploded and 43 million people starved to death. There are more planes destroyed in World War II than there are currently intact planes on Earth today. I mean, everyone was making a sheet ton of planes. A sheet ton of sheety planes. Commercial airliners nowadays are pretty sickening in terms of military planes. The dominant air force in the world is taking a quality over quantity approach, despite also having quite a few, but yeah. When a woman with breast implants is cremated, the implants will melt into goo. It drips to the bottom of the furnace and needs to be cleaned up once cooled. Kim Kardashian gonna just straight up melt into a puddle. She's had so much plastic surgery they're gonna have to recycle her. Her latest tattoo is a 2 inside a triangle. To scale. The distance between a nucleus and orbiting electron is 16 times longer than the distance between the Sun and Pluto. There's a universe inside us. If sound could travel through space, the roar of the sun would be deafening even though it's 93 miles away. That sheet makes sound? Yup. The sun is 290 decibels. If space could carry sound, it would still be 125 dB by the time it got to Earth. It'd be like a jackhammer everywhere all the time. Of course, if that happened, we'd probably evolve to be deaf in that audio spectrum so we wouldn't notice. Horses can't vomit. I now have a mental image of a bulimic horse in tears. It's pretty well known by now, but calculators today have more computing power than Apollo 11. We got to the moon with slide rulers and huge gonads. If a hydrogen atom was the size of a huge ball, how large would an electron be? We don't have a clear idea of the size of an electron. We've only been able to establish bounds on its maximum possible size. Thus it is either that size or smaller. Some suspect it's literally a point in space containing no length, width, or height. But as it has mass, this would make an electron also a black hole. Nintendo was founded in 1889. Before video games, Nintendo ran 6 hotels in Japan. There are more trees on the Earth than stars in the Milky Way. Every time you shuffle a deck of cards, you've probably made an entirely unique order, as compared to every other shuffle in history. I love the cards one. When I tell it to people, I usually go with there are more unique possibilities for card order than there are atoms in the solar system. A lot more than when they call BS. I tell them to Google estimated atoms in the solar system, 1057, and compare it to 52 factorial on their calculator, 867. Someone once wrote down a great visualization for how big that number is. Imagine you have a timer for 52 seconds. Get to the equator every billion years. Take one step forward on the equator. Every time you get all around the equator, take one drop of water out of the Pacific Ocean. Continue this until the Pacific Ocean is empty. Then put one piece of paper on the ground. Fill the Pacific Ocean back up and do the whole thing all over again. When the stack of paper reaches from the Earth to the Sun, the first 3 digits of the timer won't have changed yet. There is no good metric for the number of languages on Earth. This is mostly because linguists cannot agree on what constitutes a new language and what constitutes a dialect of an existing language. The best current metric of how many languages exist is the number of translations of the Christian Bible. If Earth was a basketball, to scale the moon would be a tennis ball. It would orbit around 7.5 meters away, which is a lot farther than most people think. If the nucleus of a hydrogen atom was a tennis ball, to scale the electron would orbit at about 2,500 meters away. There is no ball small enough to compare to how small electrons would still be at this scale. From 1613 and 1620 a samurai traveled to Rome by way of Mexico. During this time, Shakespeare was still alive. Virginia had been founded for around a decade. Galileo was accused of heresy. And Pocahontas arrived in England. He met the Pope. He was made a Roman citizen. His name was Hasekura Tsunenaga, and was the last Japanese person to officially visit Europe until around 1860. You can fit every planet between the Earth and Moon, including all the gas giants. But if you lined up all of Jeff Bezos's money from end to end, it wouldn't fit between the Earth and Moon. It could go to the Moon and back 34 times. Jeff Bezos has enough money to make a ladder to the Moon, and to make it out of money. The Tyrannosaurus Rex lived closer in time to us than it did the Stegosaurus. Sense of smell is molecular, meaning that molecules of what you are smelling are actually inside of your body as a result of smelling them. Think about that the next time you enter a public restroom. Like farts. Little bits of as in your head. We live closer to the lifetime of Cleopatra than she did to the building of the Great Pyramids. This is closer to false every time I hear it. Cornflakes were made with the intent to keep people from masturbating. I tried masturbating with cornflakes and it hurt, so I stopped. You were clearly doing it wrong. Did you pour the milk first? GPS satellites have to compensate for time dilation, because time runs at a different rate in orbit. President John Tyler, born in 1790, has 2 living grandsons. Everything in the universe is either a potato or not a potato. Millennials who have a bachelor's degree make 20% less than baby boomers did at the same age with just a HS diploma. You see your nose all the time, but your brain just ignoring it. Even if 99% of Earth's population thought you were unattractive, 76 million people would still find you attractive. You are closer to being a millionaire than Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos. The color orange is named after the fruit. There is no universally accepted definition of vegetable. It's a cultural and culinary term, and varies from place to place. The speed of light is always the same, regardless of the relevant speed of the observer. Say you are standing still, and a car passes you at 60 miles per hour, it passes you at 60 miles per hour. Right? Say you're driving at 30 miles per hour and a car passes you at 60 miles per hour, because you're already moving at 30. The car only moves away from you at 30 miles per hour. Light doesn't work this way. If you're standing still and turn on a flashlight, the beam of light moves away from you at light speed. But if you're moving at half the speed of light, and turn on a flashlight, the beam still moves away from you at light speed, even though it's only moving at the standard speed of light. So even people who aren't moving half the speed of light see it moving at the same speed as you do. Which isn't possible, but is somehow true. It makes no sense and makes me think there is a lot to physics we still have to learn. And I bet we find out a lot of the things we know are wrong.